Teamwork isn't just nice to have in business, it's the undisputed competitive advantage. When your team members work as a unified force, your whole operation benefits through higher productivity, thriving creativity, and unstoppable momentum. Welcome to the Impactful Teamwork Podcast, where we share with you strategies and tactics to help you develop game-changing teams so that you and your business can make a real difference in the world.
So as it comes to this time of year with Christmas just around the corner, one thing I really like to do is to engage in some appreciation and gratitude for everything that's happened through the year. So welcome to this week's edition of Impactful Teamwork. My name's Julia Felton, and I'm going to be your host and guide for the next 15 to 20 minutes, where we just talk a little bit about gratitude and appreciation, because I think this is an incredible time of year for us just to stop and rest and relax and reflect on what's happened in the year, what our accomplishments have been, and to really give gratitude for all the amazing things that have happened. Now, many of you will know from last week's podcast, I've had a pretty trying 2025. Things haven't always quite gone to plan. But what I do know to be true is that there is always a gift in everything that happens. I'm sure everything has happened, including the loss of two of my horses, for a very, very specific reason. And sometimes when I'm in the depths of it, I can't actually see that. But I know that over time, and as I reflect, there will be something amazing that happens from this. So let's just talk a little bit about gratitude, because I don't believe gratitude is something soft and squidgy. I actually think it's a really smart and strategic decision that we need to make, both about our lives and about our businesses. And I just want to share with you a statistic from UC Davis. It's a study, and it said that people who practice daily gratitude had a 28% lower cortisol level. And a Wharton study showed that when you simply said thank you for things, it increased performance by up to 50%. Just a few words. So just a few words like thank you increases performance by up to 50%. That's a massive impact. So appreciation and gratitude goes a very long way. So I'd just like to suggest something. If your team has been feeling a little bit flat or disconnected, or maybe even quietly disengaging, in my experience, it's rarely a performance issue. It's an appreciation issue. And not the fluffy type of appreciation, but the kind of appreciation that's really felt, embodied, and seen and valued. And I really find that when I'm working with teams, gratitude is one of the fastest ways to help restore energy, trust, and momentum. And most leaders I know radically underuse it. So why is gratitude misunderstood in business? I think most leaders think about gratitude in terms of, if I say thank you, that should be enough. They're proud to do the job. We'll celebrate when we get to the target. Celebration actually is one of my bugbears in business, because we just don't do enough of it. And I definitely see that every time people come out and work with the horses. I always get people to show their appreciation, gratitude, and to celebrate the successes that they have with the horses. And people, it's very interesting. People are pretty uncomfortable about that, and they're not used to it. And yet in my horse herd, the safety and cohesion is totally reinforced through each herd member appreciating and having gratitude for each other. So gratitude for me isn't this kind of annual bonus. We often get into a situation, don't we, where we reward team members at the end of the year, often with a bonus for great work. And yeah, that can work, but I think it's very short-termist. I actually prefer to reward people throughout the year and celebrate our successes throughout the year. I think that's a lot more effective and it yields better results. And I know that particularly with the younger generation, when I'm working with those, when I'm running restaurants at the race courses over the summer months, I'm really aware that I am continually giving team members really positive feedback on how they have performed and how they're doing and thanking them for a job well done. And it's really interesting to see the shock on people's faces. It's like they have never received gratitude, appreciation, and praise in the past. So I think it's just so important that as leaders, we incorporate gratitude and appreciation into our day-to-day lives, because when we start making gratitude and appreciation something that we do every single day, people feel seen and heard, they feel appreciated, and therefore their performance improves, trust levels improve, energy levels improve. And this is the power of appreciation and gratitude. And one of the things I do every single morning before I get up is spend just a minute or two giving gratitude for great things that have happened in my life or are happening in my life. Because I think it's very easy for us to go through life not really giving thanks for all the amazing things that happen. We are living in some tough times. There are some really difficult things going on for people. But as I said, I believe that there is always positivity if we really look for it. And I'd like to just talk to you a little bit about something that I call the iceberg of gratitude. Because if we think of gratitude, it's an act of recognizing and acknowledging the good things that happen that causes a state of appreciation. When we really stop and think about what we're grateful for in our lives, the experiences, the circumstances, the events, we often think about things that are quite big and quite momentous, right? We might give gratitude for a new house or a car or a new job, or maybe our family. But often what we forget and admit is what is beneath that iceberg, the things that are happening day in, day out that give us such joy and pleasure. And maybe it's as simple as the book that you get to read, the laugh that you had with a friend. Maybe it's the joy of eating chocolate. That's certainly one of my great things that I'm certainly grateful for. Or maybe it's the weather, the amazing sunshine. Not that I have to confess right now, we are experiencing a lot of sunshine, but obviously last week when I was away in Thailand, I was really grateful for the weather and the sun beating on my back and having time to lie and hang out by the pool and absorb the sun's rays. Because I think when we really think about the small things that we're grateful for, that really makes gratitude sink much further into our lives. So, why does gratitude matter? Gratitude regulates energy before it motivates behavior. So, in moments of pressure and uncertainty, appreciation does something really extraordinary. It calms the body, it strengthens our relationships, and it improves performance fast. And when we lower our cortisol levels, that leads to clearer thinking and better decision making. And when we deliver higher performance within our teams, it means our clients respond with more trust, effort, and creativity. And so I often think of gratitude and appreciation as one of the tools in my reinvention kit. And it's one of the simplest ways to build resilience in a turbulent world. But here's the really uncomfortable truth. Most leaders are great at spotting gaps and problems and risks within the business, but they're really terrible at naming contribution. And what you don't name, you drain. And what you appreciate multiplies. So I'd like just to share with you a couple of ideas on how you can improve your levels of gratitude and appreciation. So first of all, let's start with an appreciation inventory. And I just invite you to pause for a moment and silently reflect on, where is your team right now? And who consistently gives energy but rarely gets acknowledged within your team? And whose efforts do you rely on but don't explicitly recognize? And then really think about, when was the last time you named how somebody's contribution mattered? And this isn't just about praise, this is about precision, because general feedback feels nice, but specific appreciation changes behavior. So specific appreciation sounds more like the way you handled that client protected the whole team. The calm you had in that meeting stabilized everything. You took the pressure off me without being asked, and that mattered. And the thing is, if we don't be very specific in our appreciation and our gratitude and the reason that we're doing it, it won't regulate trust. So that's my invitation for you, is to really be specific with people when you're sharing gratitude and appreciation with them about why it mattered and the impact it had on you. The other thing you might want to consider is something called the 24-hour appreciation reset. And over the next 24 hours, I'd like you to appreciate one person. I'd like you to appreciate them out loud in real time. And again, not for their effort, but for the outcome that happened. So a structure you might want to use could be this. When I saw XYZ, this is why it mattered to me and the impact it had. And notice what shifts in you and notice what shifts in them. Because some amazing things become possible when appreciation becomes normalized within a team. And when appreciation becomes part of how you actually lead your team, the energy lifts without force. Trust deepens. And people step up without being chased. In fact, in my experience, people take a lot more accountability when they feel that they're recognized and valued, and somebody has some gratitude for what they've done. So this helps our teams move from compliance to contribution, from effort to ownership, and from burnout to sustainable momentum. And this is exactly what teamship looks like in action. And many of you will be familiar with the Unbridled Teamship Roadmap, which is what I base a lot of my work on. So before you rush into your next meeting and before you go away for the holidays, just ask yourself, who in your world needs to be seen today, not managed? And if you want to go deeper into building trust, energy, and momentum the natural way, think about each and every day how you can incorporate gratitude and appreciation into the work you do. Because leadership isn't about driving people harder, it's about creating conditions where people want to give their best. So if you're a corporate leader, ask yourself, who on your team needs to hear one sincere sentence today? Recognition doesn't require a system. It just needs you to be present and paying attention. And the impact will far outlive the moment. How can you appreciate the psychological safety that is created around you within the workplace through your culture? This is the foundation of every transformation. And where can you as a leader practice gratitude to lower your own stress and reclaim your own energy? Because as we'd said earlier, one moment of acknowledgement can regulate your nervous system more effectively than any productivity hack. So those are just some thoughts on gratitude and appreciation as we're closing the year out. I would just like to close by saying I am incredibly grateful and appreciative for each and every one of you for listening to this podcast. It's such a joy for me to be able to pull this together for you each and every week. I learned so much in the process. I've been meeting some great guests in the last quarter of this year as well. And I really hope that you found this useful and valuable. So my deepest appreciation to you for you being an avid listener of the podcast, and also for all of my clients that I work with, whether that's in a coaching capacity or a leadership capacity, or whether you're coming to partner with my horses. Thank you for your business. Thank you for trusting me with your teams and with yourselves to help you create a massive transformation. And lastly, I'd just like to give gratitude and appreciation for my amazing herd of horses, the 2 that have passed on and the 2 left behind. Bracken and Thistle will continue the legacy as we move forward into 2026. And who knows, we might even have some new herd members come and join them. So I'm incredibly appreciative of everybody in my life, all my partners, business partners and colleagues. Thank you. And for the people that help me look after the horses, thank you also for all your help and contribution this year. So all it leaves is for me to wish you a very Merry Christmas. I hope you have a prosperous New Year and you enjoy the festive holiday season. In much love and appreciation. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thanks for listening to the Impactful Teamwork podcast. Please stay tuned for future episodes and do subscribe wherever you get your podcasts. If you've enjoyed this episode, please leave a rating on your favourite platform. Recommendations are essential for attracting new listeners. Please follow us on social media at Julia Felton and at Business Horsepower. And if there are any topics you'd like us to cover on future episodes, please do let me know. Remember, you and your team are always making an impact. What impact will you make today?